Hello, fellas. Tell me with a straight face you never wanted to get on that damn train to Nova Prospect and save yourself a world of rectal pain. Too bad Barney steps in, shutting the door pretty much in my face. Doesn't matter how fast you might be, you can never be fast enough to make it through. But what if I placed an object to block the damn door? Luckily, there's plenty of useless crap laying around. Toss a box or a suitcase in the door's way, then watch the magic happen. And now that Barney can go screw himself, we're free to explore. There's the actual train that would have otherwise taken us to Nova Prospect, but it's not going anywhere today. This MetroCop, by the way, is going to be a little discombobulated to say the least. Makes perfect sense, after all, we're not supposed to be here to begin with. Speaking of Barney, that miserable little wuss, if you stand right in front of the door while it's still closed, the same door Barney comes walking through, while if you stand right in front of it, Barney will fail to open the door. Instead, he'll show up ghosting right through the door. He'll then say his piece and back right up through the door again, leaving the game stuck with you unable to follow him. Speaking of Barney again, did you know that you could see his cute little mug way before he even takes that helmet off? Well, to do that, you want to beat him up the hallway while he leads you to the interrogation room. Then, you want to stand firm in front of the door. Barney will soon catch up and play his usual animation while you get to see behind his helmet. There you go. There's his face. Now, this one is a little weird, but did you realize you could find a pair of leather shoes early on in the game? Someone's been leaving their shoes around, and it's up to us to find them all. The first one is gonna be in one of the lockers at the train station. Grab and carry the damn thing until you arrive at this apartment building. The other shoe is gonna be on the floor as soon as you step inside. Now, if you're willing to put in a little extra effort, you can find the third and last shoe just up the stairs in the same building. So, what's up with these shoes? Most MetroCops you will encounter are gonna be super cranky. You would think someone took a hot steaming dump in their coffee this morning. I said most because a few of the bunch are actually going to be surprisingly calm. Doesn't matter if you start throwing shit at them. The first such guy is gonna be right behind the chain link right next to the sweeping Vorty. If you aim and throw something, he'll just stand there completely unfazed. And the other officer, Chill Phil, is hanging out near the apartment building towards the end of the chapter. You'll see him leaning against the door, arms hanging slack like he's been chucking sacks of potato all day. Now this one is obviously the chillest MetroCop around. Doesn't matter if you start dropping bricks on his head or even trying to stand on his head, quite literally. His partner, on the other hand, is going to take your every little infraction quite personal, so watch it. What I like to do is get him trapped in the merry-go-round nearby while I have my way with his pal every way it can be done. Speaking of those pesky scanners, the first such thing you encounter after just getting off the train is a rare piece of dumbass. If you harass the ass long enough by following it around and throwing trash at it, eventually it'll get tired, back off entirely, and just, go and hang out behind one of the large columns in the back of the train station where you can't get to it anymore. Just like that. Every time I play Half-Life, I always stop to wonder if there might be a way to somehow slip into that sealed-off section of the train station. Now, there's a MetroCop in my way, and he ain't moving 1 inch, doesn't matter if I try to sneak over his head. By the way, his buddy will start freaking out just as bad.
Welcome to City 17.
Yeah, some fucking welcome. Now, if there's a way to get in there, other than using console commands or mods, I have yet to discover one. But, at the end of the day, I still like to stick around and play tag with these fellas. It really is one of life's better things.
Here, in the Citadel.
Speaking of console commands, yes, it is a great way to get past all the barriers and, see shit you would otherwise miss. We can see Dr. Breen's torso in a separate room in the middle of the black void, delivering his welcome spiel like it's just another Tuesday.
By our benefactors, I've been proud to call City 17 my home.
There's that train car that you find yourself in while the G-Man talks to you in the game's intro. Yes, they actually swap you into a different train car as soon as you wake up, so this one is just for the sake of the cutscene. There's even that door with, bright light shining through, which is where the G-Man shows up to unplug you from stasis. There's a bunch of stuff sealed away out here, the Citadel's interior, the Cascade Resonance Chamber from Half-Life 1. Even some things that never show up anywhere, like this room, I would assume. All my years playing Half-Life, and I always figured I was like a, huge expert, but this is just insane, right? Like, I know this is how video games work. They usually place all of these like cutscenes in like separate cells and like interiors, but still, this is awesome. So yeah, feel free to explore. Speaking of throwing objects in Half-Life 2, you can do some really serious damage even before you get your first weapon.
In the citadel,
by hurling things like paint cans or bricks, you can knock down scanners, and quite easily too. Now, if you're fast on your feet and have a good aim, even birds can be knocked out cold the exact same way.
That's enough of that.
Nope. Speaking of dishing out damage, did you realize these cameras flashing in your face were actually destructible? Sure, you don't get to check that out until you've got your first weapon way later on, but if you console command some weapons and use them on these cameras, they'll blow right up. Oddly satisfying. By the way, you can whack these assholes just as well, but the odd thing is, somehow throwing crates and shit triggers them something fierce, but not taking hot lead to the groin? Like, how come they don't get pissed about that one bit? You can escape the Metro Cops after you've been pinned down in the attic. Yeah, no kidding. The game wants you to think that's it for you once that staircase has fallen apart, but what if I brought along a pallet and placed it just right so that I could climb back and give those assholes the slip they'll remember for years? Now, it's a bit tricky and takes some getting used to, but at the end of the day, you will emerge victorious, except now we have to deal with these Metro Cops that must have climbed in through the windows? I don't know. Except suddenly both windows have been sealed up with an invisible barrier, and the only way to get ahead is to let the cops take me down. Oddly enough, the next time you open your eyes, you're gonna find yourself back downstairs by the elevator, along with their bodies. Now, you could try to beat it while Alex waits for you to step inside the elevator, but like I said, both windows have now been sealed up real tight. Speaking of stacking things to get up to spaces you normally shouldn't be able to, I did try to escape this whole shit town by stacking some cardboard boxes right next to the same train car that had brought me in. I even got high enough with that, finally thinking I was onto something, but damn you invisible barriers. Damn you. Have you ever walked by these sticky notes on the wall in the interrogation room? They all say, like and subscribe, motherfucker. Thank you. Moving on. Do you remember that beat up old dolly that's been laying around the playground since forever ago? Then you must already know that picking up the doll will make some pretty disturbing sounds. But that's not the whole point. The point is, if you turn on closed captions, you will realize all the dolly is saying in that creepy voice is, Mama. Oh, and that tic-tac-toe that's right next over is missing a piece, as you all know, which you can find inside one of the apartments. If you bring it back down and try to fix it back on, the whole game set is going to freak out like it's possessed. Let's talk about this interrogation room, the one we pass by while someone behind the locked door is about to get violated by a mean-looking Metro Cop. Well, if you paid attention, you might have noticed a suit charger on the wall right next to the door. I always wondered if that was just a prop or a legit thing. Now, if you knock-lip inside and try using this thing after punching in the code to get geared up, yes, the charger is as real as they get. And now that Freeman is all geared up and packing, the Metro Cop in the room is gonna act like chicken shit.
Continuing
Let's slow down to appreciate this joint. Cafe Baltic, is it? Well, thing is, motherfucker changes its color throughout the entire game. Between Point Insertion and Anti-Citizen 1, the cafe's color goes from gray to yellow, which makes no sense from the in-game point of view, because I doubt anyone would care to repaint the entire thing in, 5 days' time in a world that's going down in flames anyway? Speaking of entire buildings changing their layout overnight, the window all the way across the rooftops, the one leading you into the civil protection ambush early on in the game, well, it will be gone when you look at where it should be in chapter Anti-Citizen 1, right after exiting Kleiner's lab to join the mutiny. I get that it wouldn't have served any purpose whatsoever had they not cut it, but still. This one slips by easily, but all citizens out and about in the main plaza right outside the train station, well, they will hold up one hand whenever they are about to pass through these force field gates, likely to help the combine scanners recognize them. Now, I did get a little creative with all the crates and pallets laying around to see if I could plug up these ports of entry, and guess what? You can. This one was a real shocker to me, but it turns out you can whack Dr. Breen while he's on the set of his Breencast in this little private room. Sure, it takes cheat commands to even get anywhere near the man, but the point is, I was not expecting that firing a weapon would even hurt the guy.
Demons in a sink.
Normally, all characters in Half-Life are invincible to all damage. Oddly enough, the Breencasts around the city will cease and desist after shooting Breen. Now, this one is a bit wobbly on its legs, but Gordon's height might be roughly 180 centimeters or 6 feet tall. That is, if standing next to this mugshot backdrop in the interrogation room is anything to go by. Chapter 1, Point Insertion, will introduce you to several recurrent characters. Now, these aren't major and quite easy to miss, especially if you're blasting through the game with your head between your bollocks, but if you pay attention, it's totally worth it. So first, there's this Vortigaunt named Sweepy, whose main purpose is to show up here and there sweeping floors. From the train station in City 17 all the way to the White Forest base in Episode 2. Then, there is the Consuling couple. Now, these guys will show up across the entire series, always perched on a sofa in each other's arms and voices like shit's about to get really ugly.
What idiot put Kleiner in charge?
Best part? A similar couple can be found in a certain place in Episode 2, except this time around, it's gonna be just two skeletons. That's pretty sick.
Keep moving, head for the roof! Going!
The guy that piles onto the door to hold the Metrocops back while you make a run for it across the rooftops, he can do this all day long. Seriously, don't be in a rush to take off running, he's got this.
Going!
Also, if you use cheat commands and go through the door, you must be fighting ghosts, because I have yet to see anyone. Now, even if you do it the legit way, that is, no cheat commands, there is a way to see past all the drama. For example, if you drag your feet and stand outside the same door while the Metrocops close in on you, then slip right through, the Metrocops will act a little confused and simply wait for the guy to slam the door in their faces. The part where a Metrocop knocks down an empty can and threatens to beat you up if you don't toss it in the garbage. It's cute, but kind of funny because you can literally dash across to grab the can before the Metrocop even comes knocking it down. In that case, he'll still act like nothing has happened. This hit me out of nowhere, but one day I saw a combine scanner floating around and just wondered to myself, what if I could mount the damn thing and fly around too? But after numerous attempts to jump and land on top of one, I can guarantee you these scanners won't let you mount them. You will just end up clipping right through them. This half-open door with what looks like a foursome going on behind it and a Metrocop on the lookout, if you clip through by using console commands, you will realize that cops inside the room are actually real. So it's not just shadows that make it look like there's someone behind the door. This one is whoa. The APCs that arrive to lock down the street while you make a run for it across the rooftops make no sense. Not only do they stop right next to each other with absolutely no visible signs of anyone getting out of them, but leaping off the roof and landing on top of one of the APCs causes Gordon to not die for just a split second. It's odd simply because leaping and landing on the blacktop as opposed to the APCs causes almost instantaneous death, whereas landing on the APC makes for a slightly longer death. It's almost like the game is a little confused, thinking, alright, what should I do now? Okay, well, you die now. Ever wondered what's up with all the payphones in City 17? Right, they all have their cords cut, but you can still grab and carry the receiver. Keep going until you're facing this guy. Now put him on the phone and say,
Hey, I just met you.